welcome to the channel, That Retired Guy. Yes, it's me, Darell. I know, look a little rough, full-on lumberjack going here. Don't worry, it's just my lockdown beard. I know, my phone doesn't even recognize me anymore. So much for that face recognition technology, eh? Anyway, in this episode, I'll be talking about lockdown life for that retired guy. Okay, let me start by saying I get it. We need to reduce the risk of transmission. It is a deadly virus. I mean, especially for those of us a little more mature. But when it comes to lockdowns, I don't have to like them, and I sure don't want them to go on any longer than they have to. I mean, there's those that are talking about welcome to the new normal. That's not for me. Or others who want to take advantage of the pandemic with the great reset. I want no part of that. I mean, one of the great things about being retired was the freedom that it brought. You know what I mean? Like not being tied to other people's schedules or code of conduct or expectations. I mean, with these lockdowns, it seems like Freedom 55 has just disappeared. I actually did retire at 55. I mean, I bought into that whole early retirement lifestyle. Now with COVID and lockdowns and all that, there's no more going south for the winter or even leaving your house. It's crazy. I guess as Dr. Phil likes to say, how's that working for you now? So what's a guy supposed to do to stay sane through this whole thing? Well, lockdown life for that retired guy is all about keeping busy. It's just a little harder with all these restrictions. Now, a bit of advice. If you're not self-motivated or have some kind of passion for a hobby that you really like or volunteer work that you like to do, that's the kind of thing that keeps you going through retirement. Also, it's the kind of thing that's going to help you out during a lockdown like this. Otherwise, you end up sitting in front of the TV with a bowl of snack food and a case of beer. I mean, it doesn't end well. Now, playing guitar has always been a bit of a hobby of mine. I mean, I never got very good at it, but it does keep me busy during this pandemic. Now, for me, it's always been about DIY. You know, the physical activity keeps me fit-ish, and, you know, there's always challenges about figuring things out and problem solving and that. So it keeps you sharp. At least that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. So let's just dive right in, and I'll tell you a little bit about some of the projects I've been working on to try and stay sane through this whole lockdown. Now, a tip for you guys, if you're looking for a project to work on, the best thing to do is go to that honey-do list. You know, ask the better half what she'd like to have done. Those kind of projects, they're fully supported and rarely have any kind of financial constraints. And the end product, it's appreciated. Not like that stupid fishing boat thing that I spent all that money on. Anyway, go work off that list. That's the one. So one of the things I worked on was turning our spare bedroom into a sewing room. Now my wife, she rediscovered her passion for sewing during the lockdown. And thanks to Amazon, we're now the proud owners of 2 sergers, 3 sewing machines, a professional steam iron, and a 4K TV to watch how-to sewing videos. Now, online sales have been the real big winner in this pandemic. I mean, I'm not even counting all the daily deliveries we're getting of materials and sewing patterns. It's a good thing I built some good storage solutions for all this. And of course, let's not forget IKEA, who gets to sell you all that furniture. So what did I do besides put together all the IKEA furniture? Well, the room started out as a carpeted bedroom, and now it sports a beautiful hardwood floor. There's nice modern baseboards all around, and check out the sewing table I built for this wall. Now, the ironing table is custom built to ride above the IKEA storage cabinet, and it shows off that fancy steam iron that we got. Now, needless to say, this project is greatly appreciated, and it kept me busy for over a month. Now, that's what I call a win-win. So now working on projects from the honey-do list is not your only option for a DIYer in this pandemic. Your kids have a to-do list as well. And since you're part of their bubble, and especially if you're a caregiver for the grandkids, I mean, it's easy to go over there and do some work on their projects. Now be careful to select items off of their list that's approved by both parties. I mean, not like the infamous boat project mentioned earlier. Now in my case, there's an endless supply of projects over there. They want the house repainted. There's hardwood that they want to put on the stairs going to the basement. And I'm in the middle of doing a tile repair in the shower upstairs. Now the other project that's keeping me busy is the installation of a bidet in the master bathroom. Now, as you know from previous videos, I get a lot of crazy comments and suggestions from my viewers. You know who you are. And one of those was to do a video on the benefits of a bidet. I mean, seriously, that was the suggestion. So now, coincidentally, we had bought our kids a bidet for Christmas. Now, I know that sounds a little weird, but hear me out. Now, my wife and I got turned on to bidets when we were living in Hungary. Maybe not so much turned on as we found them very refreshing. Now, they're very common in Europe. When I moved back to Canada, I was doing a DIY on the bathroom at our cottage, and I decided, heck, I'm going to put one in here and see how it goes. Well, that was a big hit. Now, we would have guests come over, and at first they're kind of weirded out by the whole thing. But then we'd say, hey, go ahead and try it. Well, as soon as they tried it, they were sold too. Now, since then, we've gone on to install bidets in all the places that we bought over the years. And as you know from previous videos, that's been quite a few. So anyway, back to the lockdown projects. So we bought the kids a bidet for Christmas. I know, kind of weird, but they wanted one, so we got them one. But if you're at all familiar with a bidet, you'll know that they need an electrical connection. Well, there aren't too many bathrooms that actually have an electrical plug right beside the toilet. So that's really the project about installing a bidet. So now don't try this at home, kids. It's probably better to hire an electrician. But over the years, my son and I have done a number of projects that we've had inspected by the Electrical Safety Authority. We got them approved. I mean, I had to do quite a bit of reading and study on this, but heck, that's half the fun of it. And did I mention, my one son's a construction foreman, my other son's an engineer. That helps a bit. So we installed an electrical box. Of course, you're going to need a GFI breaker for it, and did the plumbing. And with a little bit of paint and maybe some plug covers, Bob's your uncle. She's all done. So what's that retired guy up to next? Well, with the easing of the lockdown measures, you're going to find me back in the hardware store getting ready to work on some more of those DIY projects. And as we're coming out of the pandemic, probably going to try and lose this lockdown beard. Try and get back to a little bit of normal. Anyway, be sure to like and subscribe. Keeps me on the best side of the big tech guys, you know, YouTube and Facebook and that. And keep those crazy comments and suggestions coming in. And until next time, live your best life.